Morning, everybody. My question today is, are you giving in to your cravings? Our verse is Romans 13:14. But put on the Lord Jesus Christ and make no provision for the flesh to gratify its desires. Have you been giving in to your cravings for food or maybe some other things? It can be hard not to at times, especially when it comes to food. It's like the acceptable sin. I know the feeling. And I'm not talking about, cravings for carrots or, something that's actually healthy. I'm talking about cravings for things like sugar, salt, deep fat fried things, or things that are addictive and definitely harmful in excess. Our verse tells us not to gratify those desires, to make no provision for them, but not under our own strength. We are to put on the Lord Jesus. He is our sin covering and our strength and our ability to resist. So start praying. Now, I am also wanting to share with you, before we jump into our recipe, about something that's going to be starting really soon. But I have a question again for you, and is, what does it mean to be made in the image of God? How should it impact the way we live our lives and how we treat our bodies? This is what my next 6-month program is all about. It's about allowing God to transform our lives from the inside out, both in the spiritual and in the physical realm. Now, I have expanded my Image of God program to 6 months. That's more time to learn, grow, and create lasting change in your life. Learn all about this during my preview webinar tomorrow. That's October 2nd at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. See the link in the email or the post to watch that webinar live, and also for a link to the replay after the fact. But if you actually want to ask any live questions, obviously you have to be on live. So that is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And our recipe for today is, like I did previously, we're doing kind of a preamble. This is something we're going to use in next week's recipe, but we're going to make it now, and obviously you can use it in other things besides next week's recipe. We're doing a avocado dressing. Now, ideally, I would use like some CoYo coconut yogurt, plain, because it's a little thicker than most of the coconut yogurts you get, and is very tart. It's definitely got a tartness to it. However, when I went to try to get some, it was not available in stores. So I don't know what's going on with it, but they had something on it that basically was the fact that it was unavailable from the supplier right now. So it's like, okay, rethink. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to actually use approximately 3/4 of a cup of coconut cream. And this is actually coconut milk that I have had in the fridge so that it would set up the solids on the top. Yeah, I think a big mess. It's good though. Now, to create the tartness that we're looking for on this, I'm going, and it will also help keep your avocado from browning. I'm going to add in a tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, you wouldn't need as much lemon juice necessarily. You might be okay with about a teaspoon if you already were using yogurt that was already tart. So the two of those things together actually make a good dip. Okay, so we've got, and we're using a food processor. So all this is going into a food processor here. I've got parsley in here already, fresh parsley, at least a tablespoon. It may be a little bit more than that. 3/4 of a cup approximately, or half to 3/4 anyway, of organic coconut cream, a tablespoon of lemon, and we're going to put a whole avocado in here. Now, obviously, this is not going to keep indefinitely. Okay, so just slicing. I just love avocados. Slippery. Not. Scraping a little bit to make sure that we don't leave a bunch of it in the insides. I usually find it easier to pick out the insides than to try to peel off the outside and then have to handle it. It's down slightly, make it a little easier to handle here. Dodging a few bad spots to get some of it off of the pits. Obviously, you're going to want to use this probably fairly quickly, or freeze it like you would with guacamole, because it's, while we're putting a bunch of lemon in here, which will hopefully help, it's still, going to brown. Okay, so we've got our avocado in here, and now I'm going to add some spices to that. About a teaspoon of thyme. And about half that of dill. And obviously we still have parsley down in here. And about 1/8 of a teaspoon is all of onion. If you have a higher threshold for onion, you can use more than that, but I do not. So little goes a long ways. Okay, so my spatula, get everything down in the bottom a little more. And let's go ahead and blend this. Go straight to the blending. You're going to have it everywhere. Now, such is the nature of blenders, you end up with a bunch of stuff up on the side that's not getting further blended. So I'm going to go around and pushing it off down into the drink again. So this is pretty thick stuff. Get some of it out the lid. Don't want to waste any here. And you can get some idea. Kind of like a guacamole. In fact, you could probably do this for a dip or a thinner guacamole, but it's still fairly thick. So a little's going to go a long ways. And I would put this into a small sealed container, small, very airtight, not a lot of extra space in it. The less air you can get in it, the better off you are as far as this actually browning on you. And I would wait, because of the dried herbs in it, I'd wait like an hour before serving this. Unless you're going to use it within probably a day or two, I would actually freeze it so that you have something that is not going to be, it's going to look like you made it fresh instead of something that's going to get probably more and more brown as time progresses. So anyway, I will put at least part of this into a small container and bring it out next week when we use this in our recipe. So we have a salad recipe next week, and obviously another verse. And don't forget, the preview webinar is tomorrow for the image of God, and I hope to see you there. See you next Tuesday also.